So heading off to Grafton to go see a friend, and I thought maybe I could do travel games, but then I thought I've kind of done travel games. And then last night I got given this question which really intrigued me, and the problem was that this person had 3 families she wanted to buy for, and a plethora of kids in each family. So there's about 2 to 3 kids, but they all had like really different age groups. So we're talking like 5 and 12 or 4 and 9. And so she asked for games that they could play together that would cover the sort of the age gaps and what they could do. I thought, well, why don't I go through what my answer was? And I thought, well, why don't I go through what my answer was, and then you can tell me what your answer would have been, because I think we've all got some good ideas on how we'd go about this. So let me go through some of these ideas. So we are now at Byron Bay, which I feel really uncomfortable being at, mostly because I don't do beaches, or at least I don't do beaches very well. We went down to have lunch and I was the least beach looking person there, so I feel awkward and out of place. That's not entirely unsurprising for me. That's, you know, that's kind of how I became a nerd in the first place. So anyway, suggested initially 3 games: Dixit, Get Bit, and Minuscule. I wanted something that was small, that could play at a young enough level for the younger ones, that even if they didn't quite get what they were doing, the scoring was such that they could still earn points and feel like they were part of the game and contributing. Dixit just has this ability that there is, through randomness, the likelihood, or at least the probability, that you're going to select the right card, or someone's going to choose your card, and so you're going to be scoring points. There is enough in the game to have fun if you're an older person, clearly, but even as a younger person, there's pretty pictures, there's creative thinking around those pictures, and I think it's accessible for younger players. Get Bit is just a game that I found has worked a lot of ages, simply because you can randomly select cards if you want, and that will work. It can really be off-putting because some people get really strategic and think through in terms of what the likelihood of what card someone's going to play. With younger players, that just goes out the door and you're just left with chaos, and that can be fun in itself. So it can be a lot of fun. You're also physically pulling things apart, so that's really great. Minuscule has also got like a whole cast of characters, which I believe is connected with the cartoon show for younger people. It's not actually seen the show, but I'm told it is a show here on ABC. It's really great. Like you're manipulating these little characters. You've got your insect. You're trying to get your insect to the front of the line to score more points. It's not highly complex, but at the same time, enough engagement level for younger players, as well as older players who can help the younger players learn. So I think that in terms of trying to meet a broad spectrum of young people, I think they're a good starting point. Let's keep going. So it is incredibly late. I don't know what my hair's doing right now. I don't know what's going on. We left at about 8 a.m. in the morning, and we got here at about 3. So we are finally in Grafton, which, you know, after all that driving, has landed us just in New South Wales, so just past the border of Queensland. I don't know if I was going to find any place that I could vlog from, but it turns out there's lights here at the cathedral, so I've ducked down to the cathedral for a bit. It's pretty nice. It's a bit hard to find a nice spot that's not absolutely casting shadows across my face, but here we are. So The next 3 games that I chose were co-ops, and I thought about co-ops simply because if you're working with younger ones, you can help and assist with the choices. Because you're working together, there's no reason to hide information from each other, so you can have your hands splayed out, you can talk about what the cards do, you can say, oh look, your card does this, and help them out. So I recommended firstly Pandemic, and I thought, well, if you wanted a younger version, you could go with Forbidden Desert, which might be a bit of a surprise to a bunch of people, because if you've ever watched my stuff, you know I'm not a fan of Pandemic or Forbidden Desert. That doesn't mean it's not a well-designed game, and it doesn't mean it's not a game worth recommending to others to play, because the theme works. It's popular because it has a level of accessibility which other games don't. The third of the co-ops that I recommended, Flashpoint Fire Rescue, I think out of all of them, that's a really great co-op game. The level of randomness I really enjoy. Watching the fire spread, it works thematically. You feel like you're doing something exciting. Lots of young people enjoy doing firefighter work. There's a sense of simplicity with it, but at the same time, it's got the scalability for upping the level if you do just want to have a more mature game. If the older siblings want to play a tougher game, they can play a tougher game, and it's challenging, but it's good, and you work together. So I thought, out of all of it, I thought a good co-op would be a great option. But I've also got to remember that some of the kids in these families, like there was 3 families, some of the kids are just older, and so they might want a game for themselves. The final 3 games that I thought I would choose would be something familiar, because they're familiar with a lot of the classic games, so games like Yahtzee and that. And I thought, well, if you know Yahtzee, then why wouldn't you play King of New York or King of Tokyo? I personally prefer King of Tokyo. It uses the Yahtzee mechanic pretty faithfully, and I like the point allocations. I think it's a little bit easier than King of New York in terms of what the dice do, but I wouldn't begrudge anyone who got the Tokyo or New York, whichever one. I think they're both great. Next, though, I suggested King Domino, because it's got that domino feel, like obviously pairing up, but it's got that creative element of matching pitches. It doesn't really require any language skills, and it doesn't require any certain luck. You just put your token on whatever and you try and match it up as best you can. And you can even be really lenient with younger kids and just sort of let them have pieces that don't fit together. So long as they can make their grid, they might find a great deal of satisfaction out of that. And then they probably might care about the score, they might not. I just think it's probably an easy game to teach, an easy game to have younger kids play, and yet it's got that level of complexity for older players, which is really engaging, especially if you're looking for a family game. The final game I recommended was, of course, Love Letter. 16 cards, so easy to learn. Once you've gotten that first few rounds down, like it just flows really naturally. It's got a lot of replayability. I wouldn't think that this would work for 4 or 5 year olds, but I think it's got that, it's still at a low enough level. It's got that entry level knowledge base for younger players, but lots of replayability. Just, I think once kids get into it, they tend to love it. I think I've introduced it several times at different school, like junior school age groups, and those kids have gone home and come back a week or 2 later and said, oh, we went and we bought Love Letter because I played it here and we loved it so much. So they were the games that I recommended. I know that there are way more games out there, and I know that there are games that have come up more recently that people are into. I just haven't been able to keep up with a lot of the recent stuff. So I would love to hear from you. If you've got some good ideas for games that work well across multiple age levels, I'd love to hear them in the comments section below. I think it'd be great to hear what some of more modern stuff, or stuff that I've forgotten even. If you've got some thoughts, put it in the comments section below. Thanks for listening. Until next time, my name's Dave Adams. Please hit the subscribe button if you like what we're doing, or hit the like button if you enjoy this video. Until next time, I'll see you later.